In our series on inheritance so far, we've discussed the mechanics of inheritance, the distribution rules, questions to ask your attorney, and we talked a little bit about the concerns benefactors have in leaving an inheritance. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to receive an inheritance.
In this series so far, we've seen a waterfall oasis near Tucson, the stunning, mysterious red rocks of Sedona, and a picture-perfect lake at Canyon Lake. I wanted to show you the snow-capped mountains in Flagstaff, but I didn't feel like being that cold. So I decided to show off some BLM land. About 12 million acres, or 13% of the land mass in Arizona, is public land. Mike and I didn't have access to open spaces like this while we were growing up, so we've had so much fun exploring.
So come along with us today as we take our Kawasaki down some dusty open trails to hike Vulture Peak. That was some good driving, babe.
Thank you.
Yep. That saved us about 6 miles total, round trip and hiking, gets us to the fun part really quick, and we can hear the last story I have today about inheritance. You don't want to miss it. I've watched countless people receive an inheritance over 30 years, and it's an emotional time. Someone you love had to die for you to receive it. Sometimes it's under planned circumstances, and sometimes the whole thing is just a huge shock. Some beneficiaries do find a balance with their inheritance and let it increase the quality of their life. It will most likely take a little bit of work, and putting aside that time is important. Look at this guy, just growing straight out of the rock. And this is what the trail looks like. Here we go. Woo! A lot of stairs. The story I'm going to tell happened a long time ago, but it's really stuck with me, and I'm hoping that it can help you if you're receiving an inheritance. A woman in her mid-60s came to see me about a substantial inheritance that she received from her father a few years prior. It had a few different investments in it, but it was made up mostly of one large stock, and she used that stock's dividend to pay for the extra things in life, like travel and to pay for her grandson's private school. But the company announced a substantial stock dividend cut, and not only did that impact her income, but it caused the stock price to drop as well, and she didn't know what to do. She told me that her father had worked for that company and told her that when she received the stock as an inheritance, she was only to live off the dividend and never to sell a share. We talked about her situation and her concerns over a couple of meetings, and it ultimately came down to the fact that she could hold on to the stock and deal with the lower amount of income she was getting and the potential risk that the company was in trouble and the stock might fall further, or she could go against her father's wishes and start to sell some of the stock and use it for her benefit in a different way. Well, we did start to sell off some of her shares and invest in some different, more conservative income-producing investments that she said she was comfortable with. Y'all, at the time, I worked in an office at the ground level with big windows, and the parking lot was right outside my window at work. I saw her pull up and park in front of my window the next morning, and I could see her crying in the car. She got out of the car, went back in the car, got out of the car, went back in the car. She did this a couple of times. Finally made her way into the building. I met her at the front door. She's sobbing, and I just put my arms around her and took her back to my office to see what was the matter. All right, we made it to the summit. Mike's gonna fly his drone, hopefully get some good photography today. And this is our reward. I don't think we could ask for a whole lot more. This is just beautiful. Okay, we have just a little bit more to go to get to the window I want to show you. So I got her back into my office, and she said she had nightmares, just was so upset about disobeying her father's wishes. And it was really heartbreaking to watch her go through that. After more conversations and her getting a counselor, ultimately, we did diversify her account into something that was safer and ultimately more useful for her and her life. Your children will most likely take to heart any instructions you leave about your inheritance, so be careful with how detailed it is. Any company, even if it's been a gem for 50 years, can fall apart in ways that you couldn't possibly predict after you're gone. So if you're concerned about your beneficiaries managing their inheritance after you're gone, maybe it will be better to teach them how to get good financial advice when it's needed, or establish a trust that can manage it for them. Woo, it's windy up here on top, but this is the window at the top of Vulture Peak that I wanted to show you. It's one of my favorite spots. To the receivers of an inheritance, especially with stringent instructions like the one in this story, understand that if those rules don't apply anymore, if you know that things have changed in ways that your parents could not have possibly predicted, do right by yourself and make the thoughtful changes that are needed to your inheritance to benefit you and your family. Letting guilt or fear rule your decisions about the gift of money is not the path to success or happiness. And one thing my client shared with me that her counselor taught her was to think about what her father's advice might be if he had today's knowledge. That could very well help you too. If you received an inheritance, the person that left it to you loves you. They had the best of intentions and hopes for good things in your life. Think less on the strict rules of the inheritance, if they left any, and more on their objectives to make sure you have a secure and happy life. Thank you for spending time with me in beautiful Arizona. I hope this series on inheritance has helped you in a positive way. Your money is a gift that can be used that matches your values in this lifetime and beyond. You can do it. Join us in our next series when we visit a new state and a new topic. See you there. Welcome to the Rhino Investor Educational Series. Like and subscribe to charge along with us.